Here we go, folks. We are finally seeing a little bit of green, both in AMC stock and in ape stock. I guess we have a lot of news that have been kind of going on in the background during the weekend, starting this morning. But we're gonna go over something that I do believe whoever is holding AMC stock will like to know, because this is starting kind of a repeat of where we've been so far. I mean, where we've been in the past, and it's kind of a signal to what may be coming in the near future when it comes to the bullish set of the year forming into AMC stocks. So we have five big investors, right? Five big investors that are betting big on AMC stock. And this is not quite, something that we've seen a lot, because usually when you have these things kind of shared by, media, mainstream media such as Investor Place that we're going to dive into in a second here, usually there are many bad news. Even when something is positive, they will turn it into a negative. So I found it really quite interesting that for the rarest time, Investor Place has been covering something really good when it comes to a positive outlook, actually calling into some people, that investors in the market should look into loading up the boat with AMC stock, exactly like these other big guys with the big pockets are doing right now. So who exactly are these guys? Well, we have most of them being big banks, all right? And you need to know that, we need to remember ourselves that the market evolves in cycle, right? And since APE was issued, the price both of APE and AMC have dropped significantly. If you look APE and AMC so far to date, starting this year, we are down almost 80, 85, 86%. That is a lot. But I always said here that you never see such a dramatic plunge into the stock market price of a company without something specific happening on the negative when it comes to where the company is going or what the company is doing in the marketplace. But that's not the case for AMC. So these these drop are artificial, and will come a time when people will actually see that, hey, there is no reason why this should be this oversold, and that's when it makes sense for the big guys with the big pockets to start scooping up those shares. And that is exactly what is happening here. Look, we do have a bunch of these guys that we already really familiar with when it comes to buying and loading the boat with AMC stock. But this is recently, as of recently, we are talking about institutional list of investors that not only held AMC stocks, but that added to AMC, all right? That added to AMC. Look, you might be surprised to learn that 28.4% of AMC Entertainment shares are held by institutions, all right? So these institutions, most of them, we don't need to be naive here, most of them are either using this for, the high rate when it comes to lending shares to the shorts, all right? But we all know that when you have a lot buying pressure, when you have a consistent amount of buying pressure, consistent amount of shares being bought in millions, as is the case right now, it kind of sets up the stage. It sets up the stage for what I would call an explosive rally, which AMC is way overdue for. Look, Vanguard, 95 million shares, which comprise almost 19% of the outstanding shares. So they are on top of it, right? And then you have BlackRock with 52 million shares, which is kind of 10% of the whole outstanding shares. Then you have State Street with 21 million shares, Goldman Sachs with 6 million shares, and Bank of America with 5.4 million shares. Now, despite these companies lending shares, the thing is here is that it sets the stage for an explosive run. Why? Because one of the main reasons why the company has been, the price of these AMC and APE have been dropping significantly is because people were kind of counting on the fact that the company or the CEO, Adam Aaron, will unload a significant amount of shares from APE in order to raise capital. But we got an announcement a couple of hours ago, days ago, that yesterday AMC took a very important step and confidently paid off $106 million of debt. And they took on $400 million of new debt due 2027. So this debt that was replaced by $506 million due in 2023 was replaced with a $400 million debt due 2027. For the next 5 years, AMC has no milestone when it comes to repaying debt. All right. And I guess it didn't even had to use a in order to raise that money, right? So the 400 million or 500 million shares that was supposed to be sold in order to raise that money apparently hasn't been done yet. So the big drop we saw, as I mentioned earlier, was mainly because of people kind of fearing, of the market fearing that this will happen. So shorts double down and people kind of maybe step back a little bit. But now when you see these guys loading the boat again, it means that anything unexpected, a market rally, a positive earnings, can just scare the shorts out of this play for a significant chunk of them, kind of setting the stage for this to go back to certain levels that will be attractive enough for fear of missing out, and then a short squeeze to actually be even stronger. And that's why they mentioned here. Still, if AMC post positive earnings surprising in the upcoming quarters, then there's potential for a swift and powerful share price appreciation. It's apparently a bet that some of these big banks are willing to take according to investor place. So just maybe you could consider holding a stake. So they are also kind of issuing these notes to some of the clients, some of the big dogs there on Wall Street to kind of look like, hey guys, if you're if you're looking for a place to make a ton of money in the shortest amount of time, AMC is definitely a good candidate, because we went from $46 to $6 with apparently no real news justifying this big drop. And that is what we call a very good candidate when it comes to short squeeze play, but also value investing. So let's see how things unfold in the very short term. But if the market continued to rally as it started today, well, we are very well positioned.